Hello and welcome. In this video, I want to talk more about the different files and folders inside my ASP.NET MVC Core project. So let's begin. First, we talked about how to create the first MVC project and how to run it. And also we talked about the MVC structure and its main parts. In this video, I want to talk about the available and physical files over here inside my project for the MVC websites. So let's begin. At the top, I have the dependency you can see over here. And if I expand that, analyzers and the frameworks. Inside the frameworks, I have all of the classes and codes from the .NET Core for creating this website. So this is, if I expand that, I can see all of this. These are inside the .NET Core. So you can see something like this. And for more information, you can select this, come to the properties or right click on properties and get access to the path and also all of this. Indeed, we don't need to memorize all of this. I'll talk about these matters for a deeper understanding. Also, we have some of the DLLs and classes for working with the MVC Core websites from the top up to the end. You know what, inside my project, I can get access to most of these DLLs and the files for creating the ASP.NET Core website. So in the next step, I have the properties, and if I double click on it, I can get access to the properties of the current MVC project. So I have all of these tabs over here, and I can get access to the selected tab, for instance, to the general, and up to the end. I can scroll down and navigate between the different features in the properties. For instance, at the top, I have the output type. As I mentioned, the output type of this project is the console. Also, I have other one like the Windows application and the class. But if you want to create the ASP.NET MVC Core website, you need to set the output to the console application. Then the target framework. You can change the target framework, for instance, the older version or one of these .NET Core versions. In the future, maybe you have the newer versions, something like the 7.0 or the higher versions. So no worries, you can navigate between this. But this course is based on the .NET 6, so you need to select this. Also, you can select the newer version and see the result. In addition, we can get access to the build and all of these options up to the end. And after all of this, I can easily select the properties and expand that. Inside it, I have the launch setting, and if I click on it, this is the JSON file. And as you know, the JSON is something like the text files that we can use it to save and transfer the settings and the data. So I have the settings for the IIS and also for the case role here and the IIS experts, including the different settings, something like the authentication, and if I take a look, the application URL, and in the next one for the case role, I have all of this, and finally for the IIS experts, these options. So here we have the settings for running the application. And in the next step, I have the www root. This folder is a great place for saving and holding all of the static files, something like the images, the sounds, the media files, the icon, and anything that we need. So we have the CSS, and inside it I have the CSS or the style sheet for this site, and also the JavaScript file and all of the other libraries like the Bootstrap, jQuery, and so on. So if you have any files that you need to include inside your website, you need to put it inside the www root. For better understanding, if I open up the Google Chrome and get inside the reg user and open up, for instance, the Microsoft.com. So this is the Microsoft website, and inside each website I have some icons like this or this, and also some other style sheets and the styles, CSS, and something like that over here for this, and all of this. And if I scroll down here, I have some other matters like the images, and over here up to the end. We need to put all of these icons, images, and style sheets inside the www root over here, and you can see exactly over here. Also for better learning, if I open up this, so let's scroll down and here right click and view page source. After a couple of seconds, at the top, if I take a look, I have the fave icon, and also I have some other files. This is the script file, and you can see the JavaScript file. So if I click on this, you can see the file over here inside the Microsoft website. And also we have all of the style sheets. If I click on it, so it is something like this, and it is a kind of the style sheet or CSS file. So all of these files, including this up to the end, should be inside the www root folder. So this is the amazing and great example. And in the next step, I have three main folders: controllers, models, and views. As I mentioned previously, we have three main parts in the MVC project: the controller, the model, and the view, or MVC, model, view, controller. For each part of this, we need to use the dedicated folder. So we have something like this structure: the controllers, and I need to put all of my controllers inside it. Then I have the models, then the views, and inside the views I have the home and also the share to add the layouts and also my pages. Later I'll talk about this one by one, so don't worry about anything. And after all of this, if I take a look, I have two other files for saving the settings: the app settings development.json and also the app settings.json. Both of these are the files for saving the settings, something like the connection string and all the matters. This is for the development. You can see the development over here while I'm developing and creating the website. And the next one is for publishing the application. So both of these files are the location for saving the information, something like the connection string, the global variables, and the variables that we want to use all around the project. We call it the global variables and something like that. Then I have the program.cs, and if I click on it, inside this file we have the default settings and also the startup settings for running the application. Indeed, this file is the starting point or the first point for running the application and the website, including the builder, then adding the controllers and views, creating the app, then assign all the matters up to the routing system. Indeed, this part, the routing. As I mentioned, the routing system is the part of the website to identify and to send the selected request to the appropriate controller. First, we talked about this, and also I'll talk about this matter in my upcoming tutorials. So all of the required and default settings for running the application properly will be inside this file. So it is really important file, and indeed the starting point for running the application. And after all of this, if I come over here at the top, I have another button, and it is show all files. If I click on it, so I have some other files like the import, and you can see the imports over here. And also I have the bin folder and the object. The bin folder is the output location for building and saving the output of the project. Previously we talked about this matter. And also I have the object, and inside the object, this folder includes the required files for running and building and debugging the application. And indeed this is only for the Visual Studio itself, and we don't need to do anything with it. But if I take a look inside the bin, come over here and click on this, right click on this one and get inside the open folder in File Explorer. So if I take a look, this is the bin folder, and it is over here until you click on this button. So if I click on the bin, then debug and the .NET 6. So I have all of these files. You can see the app settings, and you can see the app settings over here, .development.json. And as I mentioned, these are the location for saving the settings and the global variable for the application. Then I have the DLL and first MVC DLL. Most of the cases is like this, and it has most of the codes inside it. Then I have the executable file. As I mentioned, this is the console. and also the PDB for debugging up to the end. Okay, I enjoyed it a lot. Now we learned more about the different files inside my project. And what about the next step? In the next step, let's talk more about the files inside the project folder. So at the top, I have the project folder. You can see it over here. And also at the top, I have the bin that we talked about it. Then the controllers, models, and the views, exactly like this. Also, I have the www root. Then I have the properties, this is, and the object that is hidden. And we need to click on this. Then I can see the object in the bin folder. And after all of this, if I take a look, I have all the files like the app settings, this, and also the program. In addition, we have all the files like the CS projects. So this is the main project file, and never change anything inside it and never delete that, because if you delete this file, then your project will be lost. But if I right click over here for more information, and I can open it with something like the notepad, or if I take a look, great. It is the text file, and as you see over here, it has all of this information inside it. So never delete this file. Now let's go over here and come to the next. Also, we have some other file. This file is for the Visual Studio itself. Also, you can right click over here and open with. So select this. You know what? If you want to be successful and professional programmer, you should be genius and try different matters and investigate the files. But don't change anything inside it. Just look at this. And finally, I have the program.cs. So this was the quick tour about the different files inside my project. So what about the next step? In the next step, I'm going to talk about how to start working with the first part of the MVC project, and it is the controller. Then I'll talk about the remaining parts one by one. So don't worry about anything and just focus on your learning and stay with me. Thanks for your time.